Let me ask you a question. You step into an elevator and notice that everyone is oddly facing the back wall. Nobody explains why. Nobody speaks. Nobody turns around. Would you? Some of you are thinking, of course I wouldn't face the back wall. But are you so sure? In the 1960s, American psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a series of studies on how people adjust to a group. In one of these experiments, actors would enter an elevator and silently face the back wall, doing nothing else, just waiting. The researchers wanted to see what an unsuspecting person would do. Can you guess how many turned around and faced the same way? A staggering 75% of people did. In another of Asch's famous studies, participants were shown a set of 3 lines and asked which one matched the original. A simple task, obvious even. But actors, disguised as participants, would confidently give the wrong answer to see if others would follow. And about 2/3 of people went along with the group. They weren't blind. They weren't confused. They were afraid. Afraid of standing alone. Afraid of being the only one. That quiet urge you feel, that pull to align, to blend in, to disappear into the crowd, that is what we call conformity. And conformity is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. Nikola Tesla once observed, "It is the nonconformists who bring forth the new ideas, creations, and ways of living which produce a vibrant society." He was right. He was so right. If you study the great innovators of history, in art, science, philosophy, sports, you will find one common thread running through their lives. They never fit in. They never blended. They never followed. In this video, we'll explore what conformity truly is, how fear is used to condition people, how unsafe environments train us to obey, and how conformity shapes the human struggle between good and evil. Most importantly, we will ask whether nonconformity, authenticity, the courage to be who you are, could actually be one of the essential ingredients of a well-lived life. It often starts quietly. You don't remember the exact moment it began, only that somewhere between childhood and now, you learned that peace was something you had to earn, that affection was conditional, that love was a reward for good behavior, not something you deserved just for being you. Maybe it was the look your father gave you when you spoke out of turn. Maybe you were only seen through your accomplishments. Or maybe it was the silence your mother used when you disappointed her. You didn't understand the rules yet, but the consequences were clear. Every time you did something that upset them, a frown, a sigh, a cold shoulder, every time you conformed to the rules, praise, reward, and recognition followed. That's where people-pleasing begins. Amidst the chaos, the child comes up with a strategy. If I obey, maybe I'll be loved, safe, nurtured. Conformity doesn't start in adulthood. It starts as soon as we are born. From the moment we take our first steps to the grave, we are molded by life through cultural programming. In 2023, researchers Brown, Smith, and Ahmed conducted a study that followed children raised under state care. The goal was to see the long-term effects that living in foster care had on their lives, looking at how early childhood instability would shape the way they dealt with trust as adults. When the same individuals were interviewed 20 years later, researchers found a striking pattern. They trusted others less, but followed social rules more. Compliance had become their shield. In other words, the earlier you learn that the world is not a place you can trust, the more you will hope to find safety by belonging to groups or institutions. Most people think people-pleasers are just nice, overly generous, maybe too empathetic. But that's not what's really happening. Deep down, people-pleasers are afraid. People-pleasing often starts as a child's strategy to stay loved. The child is afraid that if they say no, they'll lose love. that if they disappoint someone, they'll be abandoned. Have you ever wondered what happens to societies that become democracies after being under totalitarian rule for decades? At the London School of Economics, a team of sociologists set out to understand just that. Their goal was to see how long the same political fears stayed with the citizens even after they became democracies. What they found was striking. The longer a population had lived under authoritarian conditions, the more normalized it became to be obedient. It wasn't just behavior, this had become a part of the culture itself. Obedience was seen as safety, as respect. To deviate from this norm meant risking shame, humiliation, being ignored. And so, preference falsification became second nature. People learned to hide their disagreements through people-pleasing, through careful mirroring, through blending in. They learned they could avoid trouble simply by fitting in with the crowd. So when new crises arose within these societies, terror attacks, pandemics, economic collapses, trust in government rose to all-time heights. Citizens obeyed directives with almost no resistance. And they found the same pattern every time. Right after a crisis, trust in authority skyrocketed. Obedience surged. Even when the immediate threat was gone, the compliance didn't. This is what we call a collective illusion, a lie the majority privately rejects but publicly supports. We end up mistaking silence for agreement. We mistake unity for fear. When faced with threat or disapproval, instead of defending themselves or running away, people appease. They say whatever keeps the peace. They try to keep others happy so they don't feel unsafe. It's not that you want to betray yourself. It's that your body doesn't know any other way. Virginia Woolf captured this quiet death perfectly, writing, "Once we conform, once we do what other people do simply because they do it, a kind of lethargy steals over the finer nerves of the soul. We become all outer appearance and inward emptiness, dull, callous, and indifferent. When people lose their authenticity, when they trade truth for belonging, they don't just conform, they throw away their freedom in the process. And the greatest loss of all is not that others fail to see you, but that you fail to see yourself. That it is you that has betrayed yourself." The person you're about to hear about is known as the father of propaganda. He was a CIA agent who pioneered the modern field of public relations, a man consumed with understanding how to manipulate the masses. Can you guess who this is? I'm referring to Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, and the author of the 1928 book, Propaganda. He believed that human beings are not guided by reason, but by hidden emotion. He wrote, "Desire, fear, belonging. Those who manipulate these unseen mechanisms of society constitute an invisible government, the true ruling power of our world." Bernays believed people rarely know their real needs. So, he argued, it is the duty of the intelligent few to guide the masses, to create desires where none existed, and to sell obedience, disguised as choice. Through advertising and mass media, governments learn to speak directly to the unconscious, not through orders, but through images, through the fear of exclusion, through the promise of belonging. You see, tyrannies once ruled through violence, but modern democracies rule through persuasion. Governments discovered that control no longer requires force. Control today is seamless, invisible, effortless. It doesn't need walls or prisons because we willingly participate. They do this by overwhelming us with noise and stimulation, by distorting truth until confusion feels normal, by selling comfort as virtue and distraction as freedom. It is the quietest kind of captivity, a cage that feels like choice. We are willing prisoners in this great deception. This prison is psychological, a comfortable illusion that shields us from uncertainty. We obey not because we're forced to, but because unpredictability feels unbearable. Here is the cold truth. Culture is not your friend. Culture is a system designed to maintain authority, to shape beliefs, to engineer perception, to keep you compliant. It replaces reality with a linguistically supported delusion, one crafted to fit controlled narratives. Behind that delusion, genocide, arms races, sexism, racism, all operate comfortably without challenge. To find real meaning, one must search for truth, but one cannot search for truth from inside the system built to prevent that search. Gustave Le Bon, a French polymath known for his work on crowd psychology, once wrote, "The masses have never thirsted after truth. They turn aside from evidence not to their taste, preferring to deify error. Whoever supplies them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim." So what do we do then? How do we walk free in a world that rewards imitation and punishes honesty? According to Jung, the answer can only be found in what he called the process of individuation, a lifelong work and the magnum opus of a man's life. If one wishes to help a human being, he must be able to accept him as he is. And he can do this, in reality, only when he has already seen and accepted himself as he is. Perhaps this sounds very simple, but simple things are always the most difficult. In actual life, it requires the greatest art to be simple. And so, acceptance of self becomes the essence of the problem at hand. Religions talk to us about forgiving and loving our enemy. This is one of the core religious principles. But what if I found that the lowest of all, the poorest of all beggars, the most disgraced of all offenders, are all inside me? And what if I realize that I am the one in need of my own mercy, that the enemy I must love is myself? What then? As a rule, the whole truth of Christianity is reversed. There is no more talk of love and long-suffering. We say cruel things to this part within us and condemn and rage against ourselves. We hide him from the world. We deny ever having met this least among the lonely inside us. And had it been God himself who drew near, we would have denied him altogether. In that case, love becomes something far more demanding, because it means I must offer compassion to what I most fear to see inside me, the very things I've condemned, the impulses I've buried, the parts of myself I've sworn do not exist. We must acquire moral courage, because facing the shadow means confronting everything you've hidden to survive approval, belonging, and control. To deny the existence of your shadow is to remain under its control. To deny the existence of your shadow is to remain its loyal servant. To meet it with honesty is to reclaim your freedom. If there is a single thing I'd want listeners to remember about this talk, it would be this. What I refuse to accept inwardly, I keep judging outwardly. You cannot change anything until you accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. How can we expect to liberate anyone, let alone ourselves, through condemnation? To truly help another human being, I must first learn to help myself in the same way. And that is only possible once I have accepted myself as I actually am, not as I wish to appear. Conforming can be seen as an escape from oneself, a desperate attempt to redeem one's value through external validation. it never works. No worldly endeavor can quench this inner thirst. You must find the source within yourself. When something triggers you, when you're sick to death of what you're seeing, when you can't stand it anymore, the injustice, the cruelty, the way people treat each other, go find that place within yourself. Sit with it. Little by little, come to accept it and ask it to serve you. Ask it to serve the light that is in you. Redeem it by asking it to serve the light within, so that as you enter your own heart, you are bringing all of yourself, the shadow side too, into your own heart. Fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with your whole, imperfect, unredeemed self. The self you are watching get triggered by all these people around you, because in truth, they are not really there. They are you, and you are they. So, keep looking into the mirror, and little by little, you will notice something changing. There is a shift in your eyes, a shift in your heart. You are still not going to approve of the way people treat their children, or of politics, or economics, or the way schools are run, or any of the things that break your heart. Your heart will continue to break, but it will be a happy heart, a heart of love, a heart in which there is not even an iota of judgment or criticism for others. Instead, there will be a deeper and deeper understanding of humanity and of the bad choices people keep making when they are not attending to consciousness. I could say this in many ways, but the essence is always the same. It is all about love. Not the temporary, fragile kind of love we call human. This is the love that comes from the Creator. The love you see in Jesus on the cross saying, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Because truly, they do not know. Most people do not wish to wake up. They prefer to stay asleep. That is not your problem. Everyone has their own alarm clock. Sure, drop a seed once in a while, but do not look back over your shoulder. Go on your way, because now it is time for you to be joyful, to find the joy within you that surpasses all human understanding, and to live there every single moment you can. This is a long, hard journey, but every day, in every way, you can do this. Good luck.